I need this right now. It's a snowstorm in Toronto. It's ice, it's slush, it's snow, it's wind, it's everything. It's wet, it's sloppy. The driving is absolutely horrible. I fucking hate winter. I have had it with winter. Had it. 45 years in Canada, and this may have to be my last year dealing with fucking winter. So I need to laugh. So I wasn't gonna play this clip, but hopefully this can make me laugh. Let's go.
Mit von der Partie die Woodies.
The Woodies. Oh. Ha ha ha. Do you hear the bird? I heard the bird. There's the bird. Ha ha ha. Did you hear it? Yeah, that's the bird. Yeah. Das ist legendary, man.
Ich bin der kleine Fichtel vom Zauberland und bitte euch, ihr Leute, gebraucht Verstand.
Ja.
Unser Leben ist bedroht, hilft uns niemand, droht uns Not und ihr Menschen werdet nie mehr glücklich sein. La, 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 la.
Oh, thank you, Germany. And speaking of Germany, I'm sitting down watching the Olympics with my kids on Family Day. It was what was it? I just wanted to lay on the couch. It was the pairs figure skating, and leave it to the Germans. The Germans come out there, and guess what song they picked? Meatloaf. Out of all the songs in the entire world, the German team chose Meatloaf. I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Even the commentator from CBC was like, in all my years, man, doing this shit, I never heard Meatloaf. Never thought I'd hear this song on the ice. Anyways, let's go. Fuck winter. Welcome to the Ben Stortini Show, where stories drift between worlds and forgotten moments find new life. Let's begin our journey. Let's go. And welcome back, everybody, to the Ben Stortini Show. I'm your host, of course, Mr. Ben Stortini. That's BenStortini. Yeah, that's a pasta noodle. Let's go. Okay, so like I said off top, I'm fucking done with winter. I don't care. I'm not even going to bleep out all these F-bombs I'm going to be dropping today. Fuck winter. That's what I'm saying, man. I can't stand this shit anymore. And I'm from Northern Ontario. Like, I am just done with this, man. I'm done. I got to move to Mexico. That's where I got to go. I got to take Ryan Wedding's place, man. I'm going to get down there and make some contacts. How are you today? Everybody doing well? I hope. You know, if you're dealing with this storm and this winter, man, I just want to get out of this winter. So let's get out of it together today. As you can see, the title of this episode is called 90s Original 90s Original. And the reason I call it that is because, man, we made it cool, didn't we? We really made things cool. Our generation, man. You know, I was born in 1980. And when the 90s hit, we made shit cool, man. And I was just thinking about it. And the reason I say that is because, you know, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the pressures of social media. We barely had phones, man. We had a phone on a cord. A phone on a cord. If we wanted privacy, we had to go around the corner as far as the phone would go. Think about that. You know what I mean? And I was just thinking of old stories in those days, and there was one. Let's go back. Here we go. It was the summer of 1997 or 98. I think it was 98. Anyways, and this summer, right before I left for college, I lost my blessing. Great summer. But what happened next is critical. What happened next was one of the greatest, I would say, pranks ever played on me. And it was played on me by my best friend, Phil. Phil, as you know, he's 2 years younger than me, or a year and a half younger than me. And he's always been able to get under my skin. And this time around, he went for it, man. He went for my soul. He went for my heart. He went for from my toes to the top of my head, he wanted to take every chakra I had and stomp on it and just and hand me an envelope full of anxiety that it was like anthrax being sent in the mail, but it was anxiety. And it was just the moment I opened it, it was just, toosh. First of all, let me say this. I wasn't going to mention this, but right after that happened, this was the movie Kids had come out, right? I think Kids came out in 96, but as I said before, everything comes to the island late. So Kids was like a brand new movie for St. Joseph Island, like 2 years later, right? And as you know, Kids, this movie was crazy, right? One of the greatest movies ever made, and for a generation. And I remember watching this movie, and before, that happened, and after that happened, I was so scared that I caught AIDS. I thought right away I had AIDS for sure. I was like, I remember talking to this OG afterwards, right? He was an older guy. He was one of my friend's older brother's friends. And it was like the day after it happened. I was worried. I was stressed. I was like, oh my God, I think I'm going to get AIDS. I just watched Kids. Oh, I was stressing out, right? I'm like, I'm going to die. And I'm like, why do my balls hurt? I was creating issues, right? And I remember the OG, he was like, listen, man. I go, why do my balls? He's like, you want to know why your balls hurt, man? I'm like, why? He goes, because they're empty now. He's kind of right. But all right, here's the prank. So I already got this anxiety, right? But I think it took like a week and I got over. I'm like, if I don't have AIDS in a week, guess I'm clean. If I'm not coughing and waking up in sweats, I'm good, right? So I kind of let that go. I think it was like 2 weeks later, I left for college, my first year of college. This is a big deal. I got all my stuff packed. I'm about to go to North Bay, about to go to Canada College for television broadcasting. I'm about to be a superstar. And, I had a great summer, great time on St. Joe's, but next chapter. Bye, Phil, man. Love you, dude. Like, boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. Moved into my new house in North Bay. Everything's good. Started school. And then I get a phone call. From my buddy Phil, my best friend Phil. Like, oh, he's checking in on me. Now, the moment I picked up the phone, I was like, again, it had a cord. I was like, hello? He's like, man, I got to tell you something. I'm like, what? What's wrong? He did this with a straight, like, he didn't laugh. He didn't do nothing. He just said, man, I don't know how to tell you this. I was like, what? He goes, man, I'm not going to say her name, but we'll call her Carla. Carla's pregnant, man. I was like, you're fucking with me. Stop it. He's like, no, man. She's telling everybody at school, cause she was a year younger than me. She's pregnant, man. She's pregnant with your baby, man. Because Phil knew I was stressed already, but then he drops this on me. And I was like, oh my God. I'll never forget that feeling. I felt like my entire soul threw up itself, went back in, threw up again, boom, and just repeat process, dying alive. Like it was the scariest feeling of my life. I was 18. So he's telling me, yeah, this is happening, and her boyfriend wants to kill you. And we all knew her boyfriend, Carla's boyfriend, was straight out of prison. This dude came out of the cage, man. This was a rabid pit bull. He had seen some shit. He was like already almost 30, and I think he had a tattoo under his eye. He definitely didn't fuck around, and he was making up stories. Phil was like, yeah, he keeps coming around looking for you and asking for you at Michelli's, where I used to wash dishes. And he's like, he's looking for you, man. He wants to kill you. And he found out you're in North Bay. So he's told me two things at this point. He's told me that I'm about to be a dad. And I was already worried about AIDS, but that was over with because of the movie Kids. And then secondly, I got this murderer who just got out of jail, who's now looking for me to kill me. Okay? So I have these two things on my mind my first year of college. Weeks went by. I'm talking, I think 2 months went by. September, October, I think it was mid-November. I'm just like trying to avoid any phone call from anybody. I'm so stressed. I don't even know how I was able to concentrate on school. But somehow I was. It was probably alcohol and cigarettes. All of a sudden I get a phone call. It's Phil. I'm like, oh my God. I didn't want to pick up. My heart dropped, and I picked up. I'm like, hello, and I was like, I was pretty much crying. Man, I'll admit it. I was a fucking mess. And he's like, I guess finally he had enough, and he's like, I just want to tell you, Ben. I'm like, what is it? What is it? He goes, it's a joke. And to this day, I still bring this up to him and tell him that was one of the meanest things you could have ever done. The fact that he kept it going for like 2 months and never told me this shit was a joke. He finally told me it was a joke and that none of this shit was true. She's not pregnant. Whatever his name is doesn't want to kill me, and it was all just made up to fuck with me because he was, whatever. I was so happy. I was so happy, at the same time so angry. It was this release of just a new emotion I've never felt before. It was like Jenny Jones or Maury Povich with the whole, oh shit, Jenny Jones, let me remember that. Jenny Jones, Maury Povich, you are not the father. You know what I mean? One of those moments. I started dancing around. I was clapping. I was like, hallelujah, hallelujah, like creating my own Negro spirituals. And I'm a ginger. You know what I mean? I was just dancing around. I was like, we gotta go out. I need to go get some vodka. I was so happy. Man, that was a memory from the 90s. You got kids that made me feel like I had AIDS, and then thinking I was pregnant and went to school. It was crazy. So yeah, that was big. And it just sparked a memory as I was saying that. Jenny Jones. So this wasn't this was 99. This was 99. So it was my first year of college. So I was doing all that music. So I'm in college, I'm doing the music, I'm trying to be a rapper, you know what I mean? I was this ginger Snoop Dogg. I don't even think I was called Poe at the time. I think I was called something else. I think it was State of the Art or something else. I was Slim Dog. Oh God. Anyways, yeah, so Slim Dog. Somebody stops me in the hallway. It was like a half friend. It was somebody I party with here and there, and they're like, man, you gotta call Jenny Jones. I'm like, why do you? We submitted you to an episode to Jenny Jones. This was 99. I'm like, what? It's like, they want white rappers, and we gave all your info. They want you to call. They want you on an episode of Jenny Jones next month. They're gonna fly you out there. You're gonna do a whole episode. I was like, what? I'm gonna go on Jenny Jones as Slim Dog? I was like, let me hold on a second. Let me just preface this. So think of this: it's 1999. All right, I'm making music. I might go on Jenny Jones, and my name at the time is Slim Dog. So imagine a fat ginger, all right, partying out of his mind, and this is the type of music that I'm playing.
Let's go back in time to my early days when I never heard of hip-hop or deadly shades. I was young, yo.
And impressionable.
From my early teens, I was hit by
Death Row. So that guy is gonna go on Jenny Jones. So I remember that day. I was like, all right, give me. They had the number. They had all the info. They had the producer's name. And it said, call me now. It was legit. So I took that. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go on Jenny Jones. I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And then I had 25 minutes to think about it. And I was like, fuck no. No, I'm not going on Jenny Jones. Because I think at the time that Offspring song was out, Pretty Fly for a White Guy, could not fucking stand that song. So it was like, at the time, it was kind of like, it was kind of making fun of that vibe. And I didn't want to go on Jenny Jones and be the brunt of all the jokes. So I kind of foresaw that where it was headed. It wasn't a positive thing. It was bringing me on to kind of shit on me. So I said no. And they're like, you gotta go. I was like, no, man, I'm not going. I'm not doing that. That's just gonna be embarrassing for me and for my people, so I didn't do it. So yeah, Jenny Jones, I just remembered that. Another thing with the 90s, how I said, we made things so cool. We invented, there was so much music that came out in the 90s of all different genres that was just the start of that music. Like, you had that certain type of rap, you had that certain type of rock, you had that certain type of, different elements of that music too. So you had grunge. And it's funny because I'm 45 now, and there's high school, there's schools around my way here, right? And the kids they just flip-flop every year. They end up dressing just like, we started this shit back in the 90s, that grunge look, man. And it's funny too, because these kids have to go to a store or a Salvation Army and buy that shit, right, to find that look. But I remember, like, I didn't dress like this per se. I had the plaid shirts like Snoop and stuff like that. But I remember the grunge look, the Kurt Cobain look. This was just because who was dressing like this? It was their jeans that were just so old, so they didn't go buy these jeans. These jeans is just what they had, and they just let them run themselves out and just ripped up and old and whatever, right? Or they found their dad's pants and they wore their dad's pants, and then they had the dad's shirt, the dad's plaid shirt, and they would put that on. They just wouldn't shower, and that was the grunge look. It wasn't not a bought clean look. Like, they literally were grungy, and it was fucking cool. Like, I look back, that shit was cool. I remember even then I was like, that shit's cool. They created that. And it's funny because now you go and you pay for that look. But this look was kind of it just happened. And that happened in the 90s. And so many things like that happened in the 90s, man. It was unintentional cool. Big salute to our generation who did that. With the music, with the fashion, with the vibes, man. Like I said, there was no internet. So there was no, like, influencers. You had to influence yourself and kind of look around and, like, how do I want to be different? And it was, at that time, it was cool to be different. It wasn't cool to be like everybody else, to have your own vibe. Like for me, I was like Will Smith. For, I think, between Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, there was a time period for me that Will was God. To me, Will was God. The early Fresh Prince, right? The way he dressed, the hoodies, the champion hoodies, the sweatshirts, the khaki pants with the runners on, the sneakers on, and then you know what I mean, and kind of baggy but not too baggy. That look, that was the thing. I wasn't looking at everybody else. I took that and made my own thing out of it. And then plaid shirts with the Snoop and all this stuff. It was such a cool time because you created your own vibe. And that shit still to this day, I see it. I see it happening. It's still sprinkled around these kids. And it's so cool to see. And it's funny, you'll see a kid wearing like a Nirvana t-shirt or you know what I mean? Or a Snoop t-shirt. I'm like, they don't know about, they don't know about Murder Was the Case. They don't know about, Smells Like Teen Spirit. When that shit came out, I didn't like Nirvana then, but it's funny. I'll listen to it now. Like, I'll listen to that song now in the gym. That shit gets me wound up. Like, wound up. Big salute to the 90s. What else? That's when the internet first popped off. I remember going into the chat room for the first time. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I remember I was at my friend Jason's house, the guy that created the first Green Day site. I was in the chat room for the first time. I hit enter. I was like, click. I was like, all right, click. And I went in and I was like, where are you? Or ASL, age, sex, language. Remember that? And he's like, put ASL. I'm like, all right, cool. And they're like, 20, female, China. I'm like, she's from China, dude. Like, at that time, like 95, whenever it was like this, just I'm talking to somebody from China? This makes no fucking sense, dude. I remember Hotmail came out. This was on our GeoCities time. Remember that? I made my first Hotmail, and my Hotmail my Hotmail address, my first email address was just westsidekilla@hotmail.com. That's westside KILLAH @hotmail.com. The westsidekilla@hotmail.com. Like I said, KILLAH. Like, I went in for it. And last thing is like little things with music in the 90s. I remember Our Lady Peace came to St. Joseph Island. I think it was the summer of 98. Again, that summer, Our Lady Peace came to the Cornfest grounds and they did a live show. And this was the first time when I had been on the island, because they'd stopped doing big concerts. They used to do big concerts at Cornfest years before that. There'd be like 20,000 people on there, and then they stopped that. But they did do this night where Our Lady Peace came, and the island went fucking nuts. The island went crazy. I remember people sleeping in the ditch. All the wharf was covered in yachts. It was just, I remember the vibe on the island was amazing those 2 days. Because it was always cool in the summertime on the island was always cool because then all these Americans would come and it would be filled and there'd just be life and just so much good summer vibes. And again, no social media, no internet, just get up, enjoy yourself, do what you got to do, go hoop for a day, whatever, swim, sauna. And then Our Lady Peace comes, and I just remember seeing people losing their minds. This guy Ben Martin, he's just sweating out of his. I remember he's just sweating, and he's what do you call it, body surfing. I remember, and then he comes down, he's just wow, like so many people let out so much energy that day, that night at that concert. Just this kept energy they've had for so many years, and they just let it out on Our Lady Peace. On that note, let's quickly go over some health. Speaking of energy, I went for my first run yesterday in a month because it was so nice yesterday, and then it flips the switch and goes to this. But it was nice out. It was like 4 degrees, 5 degrees, and I just said, fuck it. I knew I was going to hurt afterwards, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I went for just a 5.5K, very slow pace. I wasn't trying to do nothing crazy, but I remember halfway through yesterday, I'm like, I fucking miss this. I love this. Didn't affect my sleep last night, and I'm not in some major pain right now. I apologize. I shouldn't have put that washing machine on, but I did. Anyways, this is life, right? So on that note, yeah, let's switch some worlds. Switching worlds in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You heard me. I want to give a shout out to Slang Hugh and his podcast that he's doing with Sir Tokes. It's the first podcast that I started with them. It was Darkness with a Ginger Hue. They had me on the other day, this Sunday night, and I had a lot of fun with them. Great conversation. It was a lot of fun. It was a long form podcast. They're doing a really good job. I just wanted to give them a shout out for having me back on there and having a great conversation. And if you haven't checked it out before, check it out now. It's called Darkness with a Ginger Hue. The Ginger Hue stepped back into the mix this past episode, so go check them out. They got a lot to say, and it's a real good conversation. All right, let's go. And welcome back, everybody. Let's jump into the Stortini verse. I got some music, I got some documentaries, and I got a challenge for you. So let's jump right into it. So we're going to keep on the whole 90s vibe that we got going on here. And do you guys remember MuchMusic dance parties? Remember that shit? MuchMusic had a whole setup. They would go high school to high school. They would set up the lights, the graphics. They'd have the DJ, and they'd be playing the dance mix of that year, right? The dance mix 93, dance mix 94, all that shit, right? Well, let's jump back to Central Algoma Secondary School, the home of the Huskies. Let's go back to 95. MuchMusic dance party. Let's jump on there. Imagine the dance floor at the school with this shit. Let's go. Do you like the song? I think so. I don't really know what he's saying, though. Yeah, I looked it up. Well, I didn't really look it up, but I saw it on TV, and he's basically saying Aniki Boom Boom Now, which is, I think, Jamaican, and he said Boom Boom Now. That part is basically him saying, like, Aniki Boom Boom Now, like that's what he's saying, Aniki Boom Boom Now. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Do you want to go share my chicken burger with me? Yeah, sure, I'm kind of hungry. Yeah, me too. I got mayonnaise for the fries. Oh, I love mayonnaise on my fries. And listening to coming, I'm a player. I need to boom boom now. I think it's Jamaican. Oh, shit. The MuchMusic dance party, man. Remember that thing? I think he's just saying Aniki Boom Boom Now. That's Jamaican. Let's keep going. So I have one more song, man. I wanted to keep it 90s. I just remember listening to this shit. Oh, I didn't know where I was going to go or who I was going to play right here, but I remember listening to this. Brandon Antwistle, basketball trip to North Bay, I think. I don't know where we were playing, but we went on a basketball trip, and we were on the bus back home, and he comes and he hands me the Eternal Bone Thugs and Harmony album. He says, I think you're gonna like this. Underground, lay way down, clear, slay down. The thuggest motherfuckers in your city, steady be step back, ride, bitty be pat pat, in broad daylight. Roll, roll, hydro, My mind, right, but I think I know this. Okay. Bang, bang. We used to play that on home games. We get to play our own song while we were warming up, and at the time Bone just came out and we played this shit in the whole gym with the school in there. Teachers didn't know any better because they can't understand this shit. They just heard, they didn't know. So we used to play that, man. Bone Thugs, big shout out, still a huge fan. And I heard a rumor that Busy wanted to do a song. I heard this. I don't know if this is true, but I don't know. This was after their second album. I don't know when it was, but he had an idea for a tune that for all of them, they would do each syllable. So Busy would say the first word or the syllable, and then they would just go down the line. So if whatever was written, but each syllable would be each different person. So imagine what that would have sounded like. And just different each syllable. I wish they would have done that tune. I remember hearing that somewhere. Busy saying that. That would have been wild. So yeah, Snow Informer, MuchMusic Dance Party, and Bone Thugs and Harmony. Big salute. So the documentary, I'm actually not going to do documentary this week. I am going to say that I finished my Adrift book about the guy in the 80s, the sailor who's going to sail the entire Atlantic back home from, where was he? Anyways, the entire Atlantic. And he got shipwrecked and lost his sailboat and was in a dinghy for 76 days with sharks, with these Dorado fish just bumping him. He's naked. He's got sores all over him from the salt water. He's dealing with a hole that he has to keep plugging in for 76 days, this guy. And he ended up surviving. Man. Somehow, finally, he ended up in a shipping lane, and the current took him close to some island. I can't remember where this island was. It was, I can't remember. But some fishermen saw the birds that were around him. They didn't see him, but they saw the birds, so they figured there was fish there because fish always go to an island. So meaning his dinghy was like this life form of its own. There would be fish and barnacles, and so the fish followed this dinghy. So the birds signaled to the fishermen, there's fish, and finally they saw him in his dinghy and he survived. Unbelievable story of survival, and it just shows what the human body is capable of doing. It's unbelievable. So when you get a little bruise or you fall and you break a nail and you're soft as hell, just remember that there have been people stranded in the middle of the ocean with sharks and they're fending them off with a fucking pocket knife. A pocket knife. Fending away sharks. I can't even imagine. And we're sitting here complaining about some fucking snow. So you know what? That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ice. Beautiful storm. Thank you, Toronto. Thank you, winter. You know what I mean? That we're not out there in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean poking sharks in the face to go away and having to stab fish and then eat their guts and eat their eyes because they have liquid in there. And no. So go check out that book. They say it's one of the best adventure books ever written. National Geographic said that, so that means something. Go check it out, Adrift. And lastly, let's do a challenge. So the challenge for this weekend for you, for all of you out there that are faking the funk. And what I mean by that is you're acting like you're okay. You're acting like everything is just fine. You're acting like you're fine. You're putting on a mask that you're not stressed, that shit is not bothering you. I've been dealing with some fucking stress the past little while for sure. I have not been dealing with it well the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to be upfront with you. So I want you to be upfront with yourself this weekend. If you're dealing with some shit stress wise and it just seems to be bearing down and you're acting like nothing's bothering you, let it out, man. Whoever you have in your life that you can have a conversation with, a straight up conversation with them, let them know, shit, man, like it has been a rough week. It's been a rough week, and this is why. And I just wanted to get it off my chest. That's what this is for me. It's been a rough couple of weeks. I don't know. It's just I haven't been dealing with things very good. I've been worrying about stupid shit, worrying about the leak I gotta fix, worrying about the tree I gotta get trimmed, worrying about all the shit that needs to get done. And for some reason, I don't know why that type of shit bothers me, but it does. But I have to take a deep breath and know that it's all going to be good. But it is all going to be good. It all ends up always being good. That's the crazy part. Shit always ends up getting fixed and shit always ends up good. So I got to remind that. And I'm going to remind you, shit always ends up fine. For all you dealing with different things in your life right now, it's going to be all right. Everything is going to be all right. Just like Mr. Bob Marley said, man. And on that note, that's a perfect way to end. Everybody have a good weekend. Thank you so much for taking a listen, as always. Please be safe. Please stay clean. Please smell good. Brush your teeth real well. I will see you next week. And don't forget, I love you. Thanks for taking the time to jump in the portal with me. But do me a favor, alright? Hit subscribe on Amazon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, and leave a 5-star review so that algorithm kisses the pod, sends it out to the streets looking good, because that's how it works. Have a great weekend, and please don't ever forget, this guy, he loves you. And one more thing before we go. So last week, remember I was talking about Party Shark and how I had that Narlical album? I thought about it afterwards, why didn't I play a song from that album? Why didn't I do something to show you how ridiculous that shit was? So I forgot there's a video on YouTube. It was uploaded there 19 years ago, almost 20 years ago this shit was put on YouTube. So watch this shit.
That David Suzuki. That David Suzuki. Slow down, real one. Lose yourself in this time we have together. Cuddling, smoking. Tell me your dreams. Tell me your joke. Tell me your life.
You like it, right?
Back rubs, bathtubs, moans and groans. You my destiny
Like voodoo bands, and I think I'm in love.
Is it just that rand? Super duper cheaper. Oh, that tootie. Now that David Suzuki.
I remember this producer I worked with. He made some big tunes. He loved this song.
David Suzuki. That David Suzuki. That David Suzuki.
Man, look at that shit. Man, no beard. How old was I? 25? That's that old bay clothing I was talking about.
That David Suzuki.
Thought I would just share that. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.